we decided to do the review of the purchase of the 2 doors in the remodeling of the Attorney General's office as a part of our regularly scheduled audit of the Attorney General's office. But we determined quickly after the review of those expenditures that we would not have audit findings in the report itself. And so I addressed the questions again in a letter to Senator Hann. Copies will be delivered to you at your offices today. I actually have copies here if you want to see them. But let me quickly summarize. We believe that the Attorney General acted within her discretion and authority and followed proper procedures. There was a security assessment done for the Attorney General by a private citizen. The state did not pay for it. That document is not a public document, although Mr. Alter and I reviewed the document fully and completely, an unredacted version of it, and we did make copies of relevant sections. Much of the security assessment related to the Attorney General's private residence, but there was some consideration of her space in the Capitol complex, and there was a specific recommendation that the Attorney General install bulletproof doors in her Capitol complex office. The doors that were actually ordered and installed were referred to as sound attenuating doors, acoustical doors. And so I think it gave rise to some questions as to whether or not this was an effort to soundproof the Attorney General's office or to make it more secure. We believe that the Attorney General would certainly have the discretion and prerogative to soundproof her office as well as make it more secure with bulletproof doors. So we didn't really think a question, so far as we were concerned, arose from whether or not they were for the purpose of soundproofing or security. So, Madam Chair, I think that pretty much summarizes what we said. There's some more detail in the letter. But I think what this episode about the doors really shows is that the Attorney General had some security concerns and really could not find a place within state government to fit those concerns. So it was her choice, rightly or wrongly, to go to a private citizen and have a security assessment done, possibly in part because it did relate not just to the Capitol complex, but to her private residence as well. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions about that.
Senator Hann.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Nobles. I appreciate that. And I guess my question mostly was around looking at these things and the assessment that was done. Did that raise any particular issues for the Capitol and for other people? I mean, is there something that we ought to be concerned about as a result of what you learned from that, or was this something that may be more directly relating just to her situation, or as you mentioned, her home situation?
Madam Chair and Senator Hann, to tell you the honest truth, I don't think you need to have that security assessment to know that there are security vulnerabilities in the Attorney General's office suite, in the governor's, or in many other places. You simply walk into the Attorney General's office, I think you see it's quite unsecured. Anybody, anytime, can simply walk in that area and get pretty far into it if they wanted to. And again, they could do it with a weapon. But you could do that in a lot of places around here. So are there legitimate security concerns? Yes. In the Capitol complex generally. Should the Attorney General have additional security concerns? Possibly, because of the nature of that office. As you know, the Attorney General is on various other boards and commissions and has responsibilities that give rise to potential security threats from people who are seeking pardons, people who are seeking to be let out of confinement at Moose Lake. So there are, I would say, some special security concerns that can come to both the governor, the Attorney General, that might not be applicable to, for example, the Secretary of State or the State Auditor. But I'm sure they have their issues as well.
Okay. Senator Hann, are you satisfied? Representative Hanson?